Yeah, this looks better because this lighting is
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See. Okay. Hello everybody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's conversation is a very special conversation to me and one that I'm going to hold near to my heart for a very long time because I will be having a really good conversation with my great aunt, my sweet Aunt Helen, who's right here next to me. I just wanted to record a conversation that I had with her, one because we have a lot of good conversations, two because she's so wise. I'm not even going to reveal her age, but she doesn't look like her age. Just wanted her to share some of her wisdom with us, so that's what this conversation is going to be about today. Let me back up. How did you meet Uncle Burton? When did you meet him? How old were you when you met him?
I met my darling husband that my nieces and nephews always called him Uncle Bert. His last name is Burton, Edward Burton, and I always called him Bert. So naturally to them, he's Uncle Bert.
Yeah.
But his name is really Edward Burton. Anyway, I met him at college, Eastern Michigan. I was in a library with another friend. We were studying at the library, and he came up to the table. And he said hello to the other person because they knew each other. And then he looked at me, and he said to me, "I'm going to marry you."
Wait, I didn't know that.
He told me that. He said, and I looked at my friend, I said, and she started laughing. She said, that is so funny. I said, that is not funny. Something's wrong with this man. I don't even know him. He's going to marry me.
First conversation.
That's right. He's very funny. He said, "I'm going to marry you." And, he sort of shook his finger and said it like he was threatening me. So,
wow.
But she thought it was funny, my girlfriend. She ended up being in my wedding, by the way. But anyway, after time went on, the next thing I knew, I was in a class with him, a chemistry class. The teacher had all of us come up and look through something they wanted us to see in the microscope. We had to line up. Okay. Well, he stood behind me in line and whispered to me, "So we meet again," something silly like that. Imagine meeting you here, something, one of those. Yeah. So I didn't say anything. I looked at him. This man is nuts. And so he still said to somebody, "Oh, I'm going to marry you." Started that again. I said, "You can't marry me. I'm already engaged." And I was. I was
How
engaged.
old were you at this time?
Probably 19.
Okay.
Or maybe 20.
Okay.
He looked at me, and so I said, "I'm engaged to someone," and I was wearing an engagement ring.
Wow. And
he said, "Well, who is he?" I said, "None of your business." "Is it anybody on campus?" I said, "No," and it wasn't. He went around, I found out later, and asked all the young men that were, of black, you call themselves African Americans now, but at that time we didn't, but he asked all the men if they knew me. Well, some said, "Oh yeah, I think I know her." And then he asked, well then, my boyfriend and they, no, they said no. So he was satisfied that it wasn't anybody on campus. So he figured he had it made. So he kept on pestering me, and one day he said, found out he knew my brother. They had worked together at in Ypsilanti, Willow Run, at one of the automobile places.
My great-grandfather?
And, my brother.
Wow.
And he said, "Oh yeah, I know him." When I mentioned it to him, he said, "He worked with you." He said, "Oh yeah, I know him." But he didn't say anything negative or anything else about it. And then next thing I knew, he invited himself to my house. Came over, and I was shocked to see him at the door. What is he doing here? And of course, my brother, being the sociable, "Oh, fine, come in," and I sit down. Oh boy. So he just continued on and on. And one day he said, let's go out to the airport. At that time it was Willow Run. They had not built Metro. And he said, "Do you like the airports?" I said, "Oh, why not?" So I went with him to the airport. And we watched the plane. We stood and talked. And we started talking. And next thing you know, I knew that I didn't think I wanted to get married to this guy I was engaged to because I'd gotten close to this guy.
Yeah.
So I sent him his ring back.
Wow.
And he sent it back to me. He said, it's your ring. It's not, I don't want it. And I felt bad about it at first because he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
But he really wasn't the one that I wanted to be married to. He was a really wonderful young man, though. He was right, nice to be with. So some lucky gal got themselves another nice young man besides my husband.
Yeah. So now you get married, and then you're 22, right?
I was 22 when I got married.
Yeah.
We got engaged at Christmas time, and then got married the following June.
How did you know you were ready to say I do?
You know, I really don't know how I knew. It was a feeling that no one can feel but you. You know, this is the person that I think I want to live with. I knew I knew that marriage was something that I wanted. And I felt comfortable with him. So, he seemed like he needed me. My daughter said, you felt sorry for Dad. That's why you married him. So she tells me, you just felt sorry. Well, he told me so many stories about his life. His upbringing wasn't as happy as mine.
Right.
And it just sort of got to me, I guess. So, But anyway, he was a really good guy. He took care of his children, his mother's second family. So he sacrificed a lot.
And your mom approved of him?
Well, my mom didn't get to meet him. We married we met in 55. My mother died in 54.
Oh, wow.
She died before she could see me graduate from college. And I think, she died in 1954. We got engaged in December of 55, and then I got married. I mean, we got engaged in December of 54. She had died in April before.
Wow.
Anyway, so I know she would have loved him, and one of the reasons I think she would have loved him, because he always went to church, and he used to go to church during the week, and that would have really been fascinating for her, because I don't think any of her children, in-laws, went to church, sons and daughters-in-law, so that would have been a joy for her, to have a man that really believed in going to church.
Right. How did you make it through trials within your marriage or any relationship? What advice do you have for someone in a relationship who might be married and you experience conflict with the other? How did you get through it, or what advice do you have to share for a young couple that might experience it?
Well, you've got to learn to give and take. You can't always have your way, either one of you. And then you want to help, too. In the marriage, you want to help acquire things. So, sometimes you might want to get a little bit out of your account to help over the hump you get on to. Yeah. Some people expect the husband to pay for all the bills. We never did that. We always shared. He would pay the electric, I would pay the water, or he would pay this and I would pay that. We shared in the house note. Every month we shared that. The only time one bought something is they saw something special they liked and they wanted, and they said, oh, I think I'm going to get this, and blah, blah, blah. And said, oh, say fine. Or I would do the same. I wanted a new stove just because I saw one I liked. Not that we needed a new stove, and I could afford it, so I got it. He was fine with it. But we shared the bills, the major ongoing bills, always. And I had no problem with sharing. Although I have a lot of friends who say, you paying for that? I wouldn't do that. He's a man. I've never believed in that. I think it all should be shared. Yeah. And discussing problems before you get married, because you can anticipate some of the things that are going to happen. And sometimes it's over friends. He may not like your friends. You may not like his friends. And, you get invited somewhere by a friend that he doesn't like. And all these things, just come up with things that you anticipate and talk about them before marriage. Yeah. And be sure to don't be angry. And I've heard a lot of people say, I tried it a lot. I didn't always succeed, but going to bed mad at each other is not good. If you can resolve it to the point where you can at least say goodnight to the person without being angry. And, continue the next day, whatever you're going to discuss. Right. But discuss. Don't argue. Discuss. Use the word discuss. And if you say, there's something we need to talk about, instead of flying into each other right off the bat. You did this, and why'd you do that, and blah, blah, blah. No. Say, Charles, there's something that, I would like to talk to you about when you have some time, and discuss about it. Don't yell. That's something we women, we just get into the yelling mood without even realizing. We've gone up 10 decibels, and my husband, the louder I talk, the lower he would talk. Then I'd get mad because he wasn't yelling like me. And I soon learned just to talk like he did.
Yeah.
But some of the things I would have done had I known, I would have discussed certain things before getting married and having children. Of course, is another one.
Before getting married?
Before getting married, do you want children? And how many do you want? And how are we going to arrange for child care? If I'm going to be working, you're going to be working, what are we going to do about arranging for that? Do you believe in latchkey program where the kid goes home with the key and lets himself in the house? Yeah. Who's going to babysit when we go out evenings? Just everything you can think of to discuss. All that before marriage, if you can think of it.
Yeah, and I heard someone say, and let me know if you agree with this comment, but they say marriage is about fighting together, not fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And a lot of couples fall out because they end up fighting each other.
That's true.
When you really have to see love as a commitment of, okay, we're going to expect these obstacles to come, but we have to fight together.
Yeah, fight the problem. Don't fight each other. Whatever the problem is, you together fighting the problem to resolve it. But whoever said that, it's very, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.